like the spotlight over the city, man.
Yes,
And when I
indeedy.
tell you we got us a plus one, not just a plus one, man. This guy's
Not just any old
this,
plus
this,
one.
this the guy right here, man. I really like this guy a lot. Way back, he was a comedian back in the day. Still is a comedian, but he's moved on to something bigger and better. The political arena. He's here to serve DC at his best. So, man, let's give it up one more
Y'all
time.
give it
the
up for the
Red
homie Red.
Thank you, Stan,
Hey.
for having me on. I feel like I'm at home.
Yeah, we at home, man.
You know,
in the living room.
I feel like I'm in y'all living room.
Yes.
You know,
man.
I feel real comfortable in
That's
here.
right.
we
You at home.
appreciate you,
You're
man.
part of
Yeah,
our
thanks for having
Spotlight family for sure.
Thanks for
Yes.
having me. Thanks
First
for
of
having me.
all, it takes a lot of guts to get into politics.
It does.
So we appreciate that because you get ridiculed, you get judged. A lot of things go on in politics. So we appreciate you taking the stance, first of all.
I found it.
You lose millions of dollars.
You can't move like you used to move. You can't do certain things.
Right.
So let's talk about it. What made you go from comedy to politics?
Yes.
Well, I think I'm an entertainer first and foremost, and I'm also a businessman. 10% of my life was comedy.
Wow.
And
Of your real life.
Of my real life was comedy. 90% was production. A lot of people don't know that I've been a businessman for the last 30 years, producing television and film for Viacom, for BET, MTV, Comedy Central. Wrote for some of the biggest stars, had some of the biggest productions, over 20 shows produced for the Viacom network. And I've been running production for my whole life. So I've been a businessman more than I've been a comedian.
Wow.
So I've been working. Yeah, I've worked with millions of dollars in budgets. I've employed thousands of people. I just feel like our government is a business, and somebody needs to be ahead of that business. And I'm that type of person that can run a business, which is Washington, D.C., a corporation. And sometimes we put people in place that are not business, don't know how to run a business, and that's why we fail, because they don't understand how to allocate funds. They don't understand how to build morale, and that's one reason that they have to, take a look and a position with me when I come to the table. I'm a threat to this situation.
Yeah.
But wait though. But so let me double back a little bit, because you just told the audience something that, of course, I didn't know. I don't know if they knew. That's important. That's an important piece, because a lot of people would question, how do you transition from comedy to politics? Well, it's not really a transition for you, because you were already doing business, not just being a comedian.
Yes.
So a lot of people don't know that about Red Grant. They don't know that you are actually a business run. Like, it takes a lot to run a business. And so you're right. When you're dealing with people, when you're dealing with politics, it is business. It's a business. And when you're dealing with governing the city, you're definitely governing the business.
Well,
so,
a lot of people don't understand. I'm not a comedian. I started out my life, even though I write jokes, and I'm one of the best in the world at writing jokes, and one of the best in the world at performing. But DC bred me to be a performer. DC bred me to be one of the most cultural individuals in the world. I think DC has the best culture in the world. I think that we're super smart, super intuitive, and we're able to deal with people on levels that others can't deal with people. So I go around this whole world and this whole country and take DC with me and put it on my back. So when they say from Washington, D.C. on what I had 9 specials, over 15, did 15 shows with Comic View, and you take these situations and you put them all together, and you build Red Grant to who he really is, and you take a look at me, I'm deeper than a joke.
Way deeper.
Way deeper.
So we appreciate that, though. Let's give it up for that.
Yes, way deeper.
So we appreciate that, and that's what's going to bring you the legitimate candidacy that you are. Like, that's what makes you not just a comedian, but a businessman, a politician, and someone who understands the people.
Yes.
Because you had to learn how to deal with people to do business.
Purpose over popularity.
Purpose over popularity is what I live by.
Yes. Talk about
So how'd you come up with that?
Well, a lot of people know I've been famous since I was 19. I got on Def Comedy Jam when I was 19.
So wait, you go back to you the old school era. You go back before the Kevin
Def
Hart
Comedy.
days.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
way
They
before
did.
that.
Way
So
before that.
they the youngins for you.
But
They-
they
they-
my age, but they still the youngins.
That's what I'm
Right.
talking about.
And-
You like the Godfather to some of these cats that's coming in and making their mark now.
Dave Chappelle was 15 when he started telling jokes in D.C. I was 19, and we were some of the youngest people to get involved with telling jokes. When Russell Simmons found me at Mr. Henry's, and my man Bob Sumner, who actually found me and took me to Russell Simmons, because I lied. I kind of lied and told him I was a comedian, and he saw me at UDC. I was going to school at UDC, and I asked the president of students to put me on the Def Comedy Jam show, and he put me on. I wasn't ready, but Bob Sumner saw me. He was like, man, if you get better, I'm going to put you on Def Comedy Jam. So, sometimes you got to make moves. And then I started working for the Department of Recreation, coaching kids and coaching them in basketball, football, swimming. Worked at Ridge Road Recreation Center, worked at East Capitol Recreation Center. And I started making more money telling jokes than I was at East Capitol. So I kind of quit my job and moved to New York.
And start doing comedy full time.
Full time. And
Wow.
it's the best job I ever had in my life.
Wow,
when it
Red.
comes to, something that, because when you grow up in Southeast Washington, you get an understanding that you got to get people up off you.
Right.
So I think DC people learn real quickly to get people up off of them. And I think we're the best Jonas in the world.
For sure.
We
You gotta have
definitely
tough skin if you live in the DMV. trust me.
you definitely got to have tough skin. I think that took me very far in my career. And I think longevity is the key.
Yes.
Being in a 30-year career, showing people that, if you have longevity, you can show people that these things are not just happenstance. You actually have to work toward these things. So I worked real hard to have a beautiful career and a production company, one of the biggest in the world. Did my first film in '99 in D.C. Called Family Reunion, brought it back home, and made a lot of money for my investors and continue to make money for people.
I love it. I love it. So
I'm learning. So a lot of things that you're displaying here on the show,
That
I
you
didn't
didn't even know.
Like your
Every day you
got
got to learn something.
I got a whole new found respect for what you do because you show a whole different side of you. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of us didn't know that business side, not that depth of business. Like to have that much longevity in the entertainment field says a lot for you in general.
When it comes to running a city, I'm the best candidate right now.
Y'all heard that?
It's
You
a lot
heard?
of it's a lot of legislators that's trying to run this city, that's making laws, but you got to know how to run a business, and that's why our city, we got an $18.3 billion budget, and it's not being allocated east of the river. It's not being allocated to areas that it should be allocated.
about it.
We just sit it in the bank and let it do what it do, but we got real people, real problems out here in this city.
Yes, we do.
We got homeless problems. We got public safety problems. We got affordable housing problems, and these things. And we got our youth running around without no programs.
That's right.
And who's going to care about our youth and give them programs? When we was growing up, we had programs.
Yes,
We
we
had
did.
our rec
We
centers.
go to the rec.
Yeah,
We could
go to the
swim,
boys
we could shoot
club.
pool.
We go everywhere. We even had some events where they take us, to Camp Brown, where we leave the city, and give us a opportunity to be young men and women to see other things. You can't allow our kids to stay on the same block their whole life and think they're not going to learn. Think they're going to learn something. We got to give them culture outside of that, and we have to come in and give them programs.
Yes, we do.
And so for the naysayer that comes in and say, so, okay, Mr. Grant, I hear you talking.
Right.
So what makes you think you have the solutions where no one else was able to fill these shoes? What makes you think you have the solution for Washington, D.C.?
Well, I come from the city. First and foremost, born in D.C. General.
No, that's right.
You really come from D.C.
Yeah, with a Redskin blanket on my back. I was born on the same day Dallas and Redskins played each other. And my father didn't even take my mother to the hospital until the game was over.
No,
Die
that's
hard
what?
Redskins.
Die-hard Redskin fan. Shout out to all the Washington football.
Well,
we don't even
yeah,
know what
Washington- well, whatever-
I hope
whatever
we be
going
the
on,
Red
what-
Wolves or the Red Hogs, but I don't know what they're gonna make us. But moving uptown to Tyler House and Surgeon Quarter, moving back to the southeast Minnesota Avenue, going to Dunbar High School, going to Sousa Junior High School. A lot of people understand that I'm connected with the people. You know,
and always have been though. You never strayed away. You made a bag of money and got rich and all that. We'll talk about that later. But you never strayed away, right? Because I remember we was up at where was we? We was up at the Moxie.
Oh, the Moxie
And here
Hotel.
you were.
Red Grant.
I said, "There go Ray." He was in the building with some other people.
I think he was singing that night too.
I always be singing.
Yeah,
and that was the first time. See, I didn't know that, right? So we saw you there. But what we do know is you in touch with the people. Like you really touch the people on a regular basis, and we appreciate that part.
You got to listen. You know, people forgot to listen. Like, I'm not a politician. Everybody know that I'm a humanitarian. You know, big difference. It's a big difference. You know, a lot of people, politicians, it's a hard job, but you can learn how to be a politician. Humanitarian is a hard job, but you can't learn how to be a humanitarian. You got to. It has to be. You have to be comfortable when I sit and talk when you go to communities and you sit and talk to people. You can't be like, oh, okay, yeah. You know, listening is a real key to life, to being a great leader. You know, and I think leadership starts at the top. You know, it's like the crown chakra. You know, it starts at the top and it trickles down.
That's right.
And if you don't have a leader that's going to really be able to be in touch with the people, the city is going to continue to fall short of where we need to be.
That's right.
You know, so I mean, it's a serious situation right now where we only have certain periods of time to make history.
And so that's a fact. And so I had two situations that I wanted to address. One, we have a lot of children that's being murdered in the streets of Washington, D.C., not just D.C., Maryland, Virginia, Texas, wherever. But in particular, we have a 10 by 10 square mile city. And we have a lot of homicide going on between the youngsters. Do you have any direction that you could take us to say this is where we need to go to try to start putting some stop to this murders in the streets?
Well, we have to first. All right, so they give funds to certain non-violent programs, right? Stop the Violence. I got a Stop the Violent program. They don't give me any money. You know, Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Cameras is the #1 program coming out of the city where we teach kids filmmaking from beginning to end. You know, it's been showcased on Good Morning America, showcased on CBS Evening News, showcased on CNN, but yet we don't get any money from the government at all. So they only give about 5 different organizations money. It's over 50 to 60 organizations Stop the Violent non-violent programs in the city that don't get money. If you put all those programs together and start funding these programs that actually they go into these communities and they actually deal with these kids directly, you know, and you need people who are going to deal with the kids directly that they respect, you know. If we don't start doing that, we're gonna have our kids lost. If you don't put programs in their community, they're gonna be lost. If you don't have after school programs, they're gonna be lost. And you got to connect the Department of Parks, and Recreation with the school system. You got to start connecting some of these organizations that we have in our government into each other that makes sense, and let them work together. And until we do that, we're gonna have our kids running around. And then, you know, we gotta step up as men and women too.
I believe that.
We gotta become fathers and mothers to our kids, and we can't be afraid.
Say that.
You know, we can't be afraid of our kids in our community.
That's
you know?
a fact, Ray. That's a great point you just made. We definitely can't be afraid of our kids in the community. And that's what's starting to happen now. Like, it seems like even the parents are getting afraid of their own children, not just in the community, to where they're scared to govern their own children.
I talked to the young men, right? They actually want to work. They actually don't want to be out here killing each other.
So they want to work.
Yeah,
hopelessness. A lot of hopelessness, a lot of missed opportunity or no opportunity. And so idle time.
It's like with affordable housing, right? Like, we put up buildings all around the city, right? Which is great. We got to make our city look great. But why we don't put that money into people who are about to lose their homes, you know, generational wealth. We've been, you know, my mom's had a house, her mom's had a house. We pass these houses down, generational wealth. You see somebody struggling in these homes to pay their bills or their rent or their mortgage, and you let them pile up taxes on top of taxes instead of coming in as a government. We can do it. We should help them. We should have developers and force developers to do this, and we got to force banks to check the developers who are just out here sometimes just running rampant. And
you can put me in charge of that.
I would love to. I would love to.
And so the reason I say that, because I'm really in the real estate, but more importantly, the people. And so what I'm seeing is regentrification is real in every city, and that's the motive for the people who coming into these cities and not giving them the opportunities to catch up with the mortgages and this and that, because they want to take the houses and, you know, regentrify. So That's an issue in itself.
But
not just with
gentrification been happening since the 60s.
Yeah, they didn't step it up to the point now where it's so identifiable in every city, though. You can kind of see it.
It's very identifiable, and I hate that we losing the culture of our city, because this city is one of the most cultural cities in America.
Yeah.
And
Most definitely. We got our own music.
Yeah,
we got our own
facts.
swag. We got our own situation.
Clothing, we got our own clothing. We got everything is us.
Yeah.
And our own talk. We our own verbiage.
The whole
Yes.
nine.
You know, you can be the most articulate person in the world, and you from DC, and you see somebody from DC, you gonna go, Young Slim, stop playing with me.
Yeah.
You gonna actually
good,
break
Mo?
that. Yeah, well,
It's going down, yeah.
So, I think, we have a great opportunity to become, to make history right now. And we got to have new leadership in office right now, and we got to have it immediately.
Immediately.
And that's a fact.
So what's the main thing that you would like to walk away from this platform today with the people of DC knowing about you, or about, your plans before we wrap it up for the city?
I think I'm looking at this guy. Okay.
I want to talk to the people.
Well, I think you guys have to understand that leadership does start from the top, and we have to have great leadership. The last 10 years have been the most crime that's been in our city ever. And last year we had over 200 something murders. 10 years ago we had 80 something murders. This is something that we have to get control of, and it starts from the top. We have to have morale in our city again. We got to bring that spirit back. That's why my platform starts with love, care, and respect first and foremost. When people ask me about my platform, I tell them straight up: love, care, and respect. Once we start there, then we can deal with our public safety issues. We can deal with our affordable housing issues. We can deal with our homeless problems and our youth and our seniors. But we have to start love, caring, and respecting one another right now. We have to look each other in the eye, and we have to be real about it. And we have to have people who understand the problems and align themselves with the solution. And I know that I'm that type of person, to understand the problems and aligning myself with the solution. So I tell people out there, go to grandformairedc.com, learn who I am, just learn what I do and what my platform is about. Yes. And it's the most, it's the best platform that you're gonna see. You'll understand how outlined it is for our city to grow to the next level and make history.
I love what you're doing, Red. I love what you bring into the platform. I'm just really impressed because I learned a lot about you that I didn't even know. I thought I knew some things, but I learned some things that show me that you will be a great person to govern.
Thanks.
Next up. So I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be interesting.
Man.
How much more time do we have before the election for DC?
All right, so November 8th is the election for Washington, D.C. mayor. Okay. I'm running I've been a Democrat my whole life. Most people have. But I changed my party to independent to run for mayor because I think D.C. should have a nonpartisan mayor. I think that we have to, we tried all the Democrats, the Republicans, we tried all of the parties. Yeah. Now we need to go nonpartisan and be right there in the middle and understand each other and just put that politics aside and become one with one another.
I love it. I love that.
I love that too.
So I'm encouraging more people to vote independent, be independent. And even if you are a Democrat, just think more independent.
And what I would say to add to that is don't think just party lines, think agendas.
I think so.
Think about what's going to happen when you vote for that person, not just if they are Democrat or Republican, because a lot of false agendas being pushed through a party. Mm-hmm. So you have to be aware because we got some goofballs right now just running. Cold-blooded goofball. Tricked the hell out y'all, didn't he? Tricked the hell out you. So please don't let that happen no more, man. Do your homework. I told you it was goofy. I told y'all. Goofy as hell. So nobody listened to me, though. I don't know why I said it. But I appreciate you, man, so much for your candidness, your honesty, and just your heart for the community. I can feel that you have a heart for the community.
Appreciate you.
Most people that are already winning don't sign up for politics. That's just not normal because it's a fight. It's a lot of things that go the other way. So we thank you. We do.
And anytime you know your family, and we got until November. So anytime
I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna keep coming back.
Whatever we can do.
Come back and rock with it.
Yes.
You got the floor, man. So
I appreciate it.
You guys give it up one more time for the homie.
Red.